And here we go indeed. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is M Prime. Welcome to the Mech Shop. I forgotten to check to see if what's it called? If Streamlabs, if I was signed in with CloudBot and it was active. Clearly, that is not the problem. So, huzzah! Right now, I am in the middle of trying to disassemble a older handheld game console. The wifey's. She said, "Hey, just pitch it." I said, "Oh, I can salvage some parts out of it, some bits." Because these, a lot of older electronics or just general are ripe with kinds of bits, bobs, ends, and whatnots. They're good for terrain purposes. Sure, we could possibly resell this. We could have resold it or whatever. But you know what? It's not that. Do we really need to worry about trying to make like a few bucks off of something that she got enjoyment out of when she was younger, and we don't need anymore? Which is taking space. Ironic because I'm going to be taking parts that will be useful for others later. As much as there's some possibility with this, actually, you know what? I will keep it because it does actually still have some possibility. So far, this one actually is very light on the wires. So the rest of them have had like a crap ton of like wires all over the place. Screws are, of course, great little bits to throw in every now and then. This one's got a lot more, looks like transistors or resistors or something than compared to some of the other ones. So those ones would be kind of fun to kind of rip out in seconds. So like I said, it's all about like what are the bits that are usable out of this. So, and the rest you can just, you know, take a leap off the bridge. Not really hostile about it. It's just that it's trying to maintain a healthy outlook on like, oh, these are cool parts and I could totally use these versus, you know, just hoarding stuff. And you're definitely at the point where it was kind of like, yeah, I think we'll have this stuff. Not that I pressured the wife into that. She kind of looked at it and was like, yeah, just pitch it. A whole bunch of stuff all at once that she was like, yeah, no, just so hopefully this won't take me too much longer. Ooh, this panel. So this panel is really good because it's got a lot of cool little funk. It's got an interesting shape to it. Just need to remove this part of it. And then when I do use it, I can use it for, I can file it down or find the exact texture I want. You hear me doing a lot of like rolling around at the moment. And this, for those of you who had money wagering, this was Battleship. You won, otherwise, well, I don't really promote gambling all that much. But anyways, this is one of the few ones where I'm actually keeping the front because it's got this really interesting shape. All I gotta do is just kind of cut this bottom part out here, evaluate if I really want any of that, and then move on from there. But now I got a pile of wire. Oh, hey, it's just trash. Not sure if this will go through. Going to be hanging in chat, but I'm getting buffering like crazy. I am sorry to hear about the buffering, but thank you for the sub and or the re-upping on the sub, and as a reminder, I do actually have models I am currently working on. Not these guys. Well, that's my Mega Nob. Those are the guys I will be working on my own stuff. But for the subscribers, I do owe you guys some models still. Here is one of them. I'm trying to go for more unique poses with all of them, so that way you guys can kind of have a say on like who's going and everything, or like who gets what. All the materials I might need to do the assembly on my last Mega Nob. The Mega Nob is I picked up last week. I picked up two box sets of them, and I have all but this one assembled this time. So, I want to finish him up. Now, here's the thing. When I very first thought about getting these guys, I was like, oh, I know. So I want a big mech in Mega Armor, which I already put together. I wanted 2 Mega Nobs with kill saws, which I've already put together. I wanted one with a combi Scorcha, which I have. I'll put together that because I already have one of the combi Scorcha in general. And then I was going to do, and originally, so that's 5 guys. I had 6 altogether. So now it came down to, what do I make the last one? And I was thinking, I'll just make another one with like a rocket launcher to be done with it. And then I was thinking, like, no, maybe I'll do one with another one with a Scorcha. I'm mistaken. I forgot. One of these guys has a rocket launcher. So I was thinking, like, oh yeah, I'll do one that's you know, I think I was going to do 2 with the Scorcha, maybe. I don't even remember now. What my original plan was. I might do that still. I got time to decide. But at one point I was thinking, like, oh, maybe I'll do one that is, I'll magnetize it so that way I can swap out what options I want to do for it. And I might still do that. I don't know though. So watching other people's streams, particularly Kim's, I realized I don't really introduce myself all that much when people start chatting or when I first come in. So I'm like, oh, I should probably change that. Because it seems a little rude not to. At least from my perspective. I know I might be busy doing things, but I can still take, you know, moments. That's all it takes. Just kind of pop on, just kind of like stop what I'm doing for a second and go, hey, I'm Prime. This is my mech shop. This is our mech shop. And then, you know, kind of carry on. Have a little more genuine, even footing in our conversations. When we have them. Oh, that's why. I was like, something's wrong. There's some card away. First time working on these, that actually got a little stuck in there. trying not to go quiet. Just trying to like focus because I do have late in the end, so I'm like, I already burned myself earlier this week. Literally, I accidentally pressed my finger in some hot glue and ended up with a pretty, I don't want to say painful, was momentarily, but definitely ended up with a blister, which is actually healed up very nicely at this point. So, there's that. I also have a whole bunch more terrain that is all finished up. When I mean finished up, I mean it's assembled. It's been, it's got stuff on it. So yeah, stuff. I've added grind to it in the form of like sand, baking soda, and tile grout, as well as a few other little bits of junk. And then I've got what's it called? Sorry, I'm losing my train of thought on that one. Oh yeah, then I got two, so I have three more that I was working. Those have all been assembled. All of them gotten Mod Podge. That was probably what I was looking for. After I got the grout on them, grout and grime and everything. Then two of them I've got primed. Third one has a catch basin, either like a catch basin or a spillover basin for like in context, like chemicals or sewage or whatever the heck's going on. So with that, I was like, okay, let me add a little bit to this. I want to fill the tank up with the reservoir with glue and whatnot. It won't actually be goo, it will be realistic water that's going to be heated or have paint applied in some capacity. And so with that, the plan was going to be, so the plan was, I bulked it out because it was quite empty, quite hollow in the reservoir. There wasn't a lot to it, because it was bloody empty. Anyways, so I bulked it up with some aluminum foil, just crumpled it up, threw it in there to kind of add just something, mass there, so that way, or elevation to it. Then I made some two-part resin, clear cast resin, with the intention of, oh, that's right, this one is, so the intention that would then hold it in place, bind it down, and add more material for the realistic water when I get to it. And I won't get to that until after I've got it painted. So currently waiting on it to fully cure. I'm only gonna wait since I started this yesterday morning, I'm probably gonna only wait until maybe Thursday at the latest. Give it a good, probably Friday at the latest. Give it a few days to cure, so ideally it cures hard. Then I can then apply that. Now, before I get working on those guys in too much earnesty, I've got the other terrain pieces, industrial terrain pieces that I've been working on to finish first. In fact, the current plan is that I'm going to do that tomorrow. I'll be working on those. again, with the intent of like finishing them up, very much like last week. Speaking of which, thank you guys for your patience and understanding on what was a kind of mentally trying time, or trying moment. Time implies longer than how everything was. So, as for the commission work I still have the big monsters to do. I'm meeting, since I'm kind of reopened this week to commission work. I have one patron that I've contacted, and we've got scheduled for me to meet up with them. We have to pin down the details still, but the intention is I'll be doing some work for them. I have another patron, another long-standing patron. Or in this case, it's a much more longer-standing patron. That I'm going to be meeting them later. They're one of the players in my Star Wars campaign, the Star Wars campaign that I'm a part of. Another reason why it's going to be a bit of a briefer stream today, which I did not previously mention. So that is a heads up. This is going to be a briefer stream than some other ones. I say that a lot, and then it doesn't end up being always the case. So we will see what the case will actually end up being. But in any case, with the one patron, they had some more stuff. They said, "Hey, would you take care of this?" I'm like, "Well, maybe next time I come over for like Star Wars." I'm like, "Oh yeah, that'd be great. Sure, we'll do that." So that is the current plan. I'm actually, I know everybody, including myself, are very eager to see how this next session plays out, because there is quite the possibility of some entertaining shenanigans. Not in any kind of negative context as that might imply, but some genuine, ooh, this could get interesting. So let me just on that one. I'm trying to go for a reasonably unique looks on them. So yeah, I haven't done that one, so I didn't grab the last one out. Alright, so Mega Nobs always deserve to have a boss pole of their own of some sort. So it's actually something I might do with my older ones, because I actually have a bunch of old metal ones, which I think are a little bit smaller. If I remember right from when I was comparing them, they're a little bit smaller than these Mega Nobs, which is okay. And obviously I'll have to update the color scheme, the paint scheme, and everything for them, and that's okay, because now I'll be able to like unify all of them under one appropriate color scheme. So far. Like I said, I definitely want to go. I kind of aim for much more in the terms of like unique kind of poses, armaments to kind of, help them stand out and make them look like the unruly mob that they because even though they might be all equipped with like mega armor and belligerent attitude, doesn't mean that they are that organized. Oh boy, pardon me. So before I finalize exactly whether I'm like, okay, well, magnetize it, or let's do a specific arrangement of weaponry on this one, let me do some things that are like a little more universal in how they're going to be. That is, like, I'm not going to magnetize the head. That's just going to stay the same. Obviously, he's got a little tabard here that's going on. Many times these parts are a little finicky and obnoxious, and that is why we have those pliers. It probably doesn't help that some of these pieces might be supposed to go to specific bodies, but they're close enough that you can actually use them just about anywhere, despite the instructions. And yes, there is a set of instructions that there is a degree to which I faithfully followed, and where I could get away with saying, saw these, I have time, I did. The reason being is, well, I have a right to make him how I want. I don't have to strictly follow instructions if I'm like, no, I want him to look cool in this way. Oh, geez, for me. The other thing I do have is bag of bits. Or rather, well, I got a bag of, these are shell casings from them firing their weapons. And the rest of this is Mega Nob bits. Basically all the different parts that I won't be needing or using. They can find their home somewhere else, potentially. Because I don't have any reason to use them as of right now. Let's continue this extra moment to figure out some of these other bits. Not all of them, certainly enough of them. But I still have to figure out, like, oh, what am I doing with certain things? But like the clamp here, power claw, it's a different kind of power claw. That can just kind of go wherever. Oh, I tried, so a little bit about today. I had my physical today, and that went very well, in fact. Doctor was like, yeah, you're pretty much in, like, good shape. You know, a couple things you can do, a little exercise, monitor your diet. Otherwise, for the most part, was like, things are doing pretty good. I'm like, alright, sweet. sleep is still one of those ones where it's like I could be doing better. I don't like the CPAP. I don't like having to, throw and manage it and everything. I'm going to, but I'm giving it a try, as I have been. And once I see the my EMT month, and I'll know, okay, less than a month, a couple weeks to know. Hey, I tried it, not happy with it. I don't feel like it's making a difference. The bigger difference is the fact that I might have some form of insomnia, or like I'm not sleeping at the right time. I know I'm not sleeping at the right times. So maybe I should see somebody to treat that rather than, just a CPAP machine, which is not going to be doing me any good. Because if it's a matter of like, well, you need to be having more hours of sleep, then it's like, yeah, I know that. So if I'm getting more sleep and that's helping, why do I need CPAP? So, but you're not here to hear me whine and complain about that kind of stuff. You're here to see me do some nerdy assembly of stuff, of which I come to my first crossroads. That is, so this bit right here is part of the left hand. I have to think about that for a moment. That we put together forms a power claw, which is one of the signature weapons of the Mega Nobs, and pretty cool, especially when it's all put together. One of the things that's really cool about it is that this is another one of those where the instruction book was like, oh, you have to put these parts together in this particular fashion. Then I looked at it and go, no, I don't actually. So, or however you want to make that gesture work. But, that was one of those ones where I'm like, okay, yeah, I can make this work my way, not strictly I want to make a single model, I want a single pose and a single way of doing this kind of thing. So rather than be constrained, I found a way to make it work, and it's easy enough. And I mean, there's plenty of parts that are like, they have to go together, like certain bits have to go completely together. Like this particular half of the power claw has to go with this particular half. I am okay with that, because there's not much to this particular set of parts. It's just this. It was a very rough and gorgeous day, and it still looks like it's pretty good out. I think once I hit a certain point and I'm like, okay, it's enough for today, then I'm probably going to take the time to go out for a walk while the weather is somewhat cooperative before my dinner. To which I have not fully decided where I want to go. I have a lot of options, many of which are more economical than others. I'm not too worried about a lot of that because I'm not going to go like whole hog or hog wild on too much. I do. So as much as I was like, oh, they intended these guys to be sculpted a particular way, or they tell you to like put these guys in. I say, okay. They do a wonderful job making these parts modular and exciting in that regards, and the sculpts are gorgeous. And they, I mean, Games Workshop, of course. I mean, look at that. That looks so bloody seamless. Not entirely, but you know what I mean. This part was not originally destined for this arm in particular, but it works, and it works in context. So it's one of those ones where credit where credit's due. They do a bloody good job at making the sculpts work with the modularity in mind. It's just kind of discouraging and frustrating when they're like, yeah, but we didn't want you, but here's how you're supposed to assemble them, without clear denotation of like, you can kind of mix and match different parts in different ways in all kinds of manners. So because I mean that's the selling point in my opinion, is that the high modularity, the fact that you have all these extra parts that you can really have fun with, you can really do all kinds of things with. And again, like I said, there's more shifting toward more like mono sculpts, so they're not changing. Like you can't, they have to go in a particular fashion. Do a quick double check, see which heads I've used and in what capacity. Just so that way, again, I'm not repeating too much. Because like the bodies, arms, legs, I'll have to repeat. There's no way around that. There's only so many parts of that. But they gave a lot of variety in terms of the heads, so I'm trying to make that work. Another example of like high variety parts they did was, so there's a big like iron gob or jaw or whatever you want to refer to it, or everything that goes on. I do it after everything because this goes on right here basically. So, and I do that because that way I can kind of get the head in there easily. Because this is easier once it's all like put together to do everything. But again, the instructions are very much like these two side pieces go to this jaw piece. And for simplicity's sake, that makes sense. But in practice, I found that you can kind of put them together and it works. Again, a combination of the side pieces with the jaws. So I did. So I have been doing that, and it's been working just fine. Now is no exception. I'm trying to like, where's the scrapey bits and scrape marks on it? Alright. Top of fingers. In terms of like materials being used and everything, if you're not familiar, for those not familiar, what I'm using is Testors liquid cement for plastic models. Sorry, not Testors, Model Master. But I believe Testors does have their own one. I think they're still around, so you can still pick it up that way. Nevertheless, they seem to have the similar formula, and their design is the same. That is, it is a super glue, or it's a liquid cement for plastic. The way it works is it is lightly acidic, not enough to do any damage to my fingers. Probably don't want to spray it on me, or certainly don't want to get it in me. Points. When applied to plastic, it dissolves it on like a micro level. I'm getting some water for me. But it dissolves it a little bit. So when you apply it to the other side, they kind of dissolve like a thin layer of that between the two. And then when it's done dissolving, it bonds, and they bond as one part. And it actually works pretty quickly, which is just clicks. And as much as there's a lot of great detail to be kind of seen underneath, because there's all like the scratch marks, battle damage, I'm also the mindset of like, but I can also throw on all these other little bits that add a lot of other details. So I've been doing that for some just glorious fun. So this is a wonderful little face piece. It's great. It's was used for the Big Mac. Actually, I have another Big Mac model. And we have the bits that I can put this on. So this is a Big Mac with a shock attack gun. I think I showed him off before. I can't wait to. I'm definitely eager to get him working on it. Afternoon, ladies and fellas. How have you been doing? How are you? Welcome to the next shop. Remember, Prime. I'm trying to get more in the habit of reintroducing myself for folks as they're coming in. So if I kind of repeat myself, I apologize to a certain extent. All right. So I got the head so I can clean out those parts. I can also rip out a couple of other things. Tiny little bits. Oh, you know what? I know where I want to put this. I have an idea. That's definitely one of the downsides. So now you're done with Zoom meeting. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. I know. I hope you have a chance to just, chill out, relax. It's part of the fun. It's part of the charm. Yeah, there we go. I like that. Might be a bit of a pain trying to get it on there, like picking it up, but that's what we have ingenuity for. So if it doesn't take too much away from your meeting, because I don't know how important it is, You're certainly helped to weigh in on a question that I brought up. I didn't really formally posit it as a, hey, Chad, I want you guys to help me answer this question. But you're welcome to still / encourage to share your thought on it. And that is, this is the last of the Mega Nobs I'm working on. As you can see by a lot of the empty sprues. But the question remains of armament. Because I have options. I have copious amounts of options. I can arm them up with a pair of kill saws, which I've already done a couple of them with. I can what's it called? I can give them a combi scorcha, a custom shooter. Not really a fan of the custom shooter aspect for a lot of reasons. And give them a combi's rocket launcher. Or I could magnetize them. So that way I can swap out between weaponry that I want to have. And I don't know which option I want to do. I think the reason I'm hesitant on doing magnetizing them, not because it's going to be necessarily hard. I've done certainly far worse. Yeah, I'll save the sprues for bits for parts later. But the bigger thing is that I may not actually have the right magnets that I would want to magnetize them with. So it leads me to the, okay, which way do I go with this? How do I make this work? And like I said, that's kind of where I was kind of like half-heartedly like putting into chat, hey, that sounds like a good idea to you guys. Because another option would be to, lurk away, no worries. Another option would be to just kind of like glue all the parts together into an insane mishmash, which would decidedly look very orky, but at the same time might be more of an impediment than intended. I mean, I could just go with another combi custom shooter. It would give me like a whole bunch. That's not such a bad thing. Custom shooters are pretty cool. But it can get also fairly monotonous. Just be like, and there's a bunch of guns. Although there's certainly an advantage to just sheer raw, overwhelming firepower. Especially since one of the other things is that I'm going to have these Scorcha bits. And my intention with those is going to be ultimately I want to use those to convert a couple of my, convert / update some of my burner boys. Because I made a bunch back in the day. By a bunch, I mean like 3 or 4. And with those ones, they they don't look as consistent with the official sculpts, and they were also done in the manner of the way the rules worked back then. The way it worked back then was a Burnaboy mob was pretty much just like a squad of like 12 orcs, 4 of which you could be armed with burners. The rest of them had like, I think, either shootas or choppas and sluggers. And now that's pretty much the exact armament of the squad is just burners, which is awesome and terrifying at the same time. So the thought would be update the ones I've got, so that way they look more consistent with everything else. The rest of the way the orcs look. And then if I need any more, I could get some more, but you know, low priority. We got so many other guys to worry about, to handle. Oddly enough, I'm beginning to actually starting to lean into maybe I should just make them a custom shoot up. Or if I do any kind of magnetizing, maybe instead of magnetizing for any of the different combinations of weaponry, maybe just magnetize for him in a kill size. Because after all, if I'm using any of the other bits for updating other models, because I can use the rockets to update my rocket launcher boys, so I can make them all tank busters, or make them look more like tank busters. Oiler. And he comes. Every kit does come with one, so I already got one assembled. This will make number 2. You know, obviously, somewhat obviously. Little odd head tilt, like, huh, was not expecting that.
He's tiny.
And maybe just a little bit of level. What I might also do is I might get things like the arms into positions, so that way I can feel comfortable with how I want them to look overall. But then fart around with trying to make them like finalize his look in terms of like, yeah, you're gonna have this, this, and this. You know, I just saw that man. He hasn't even a stick bomb. He's got gubbins all over his armor. He's got crap everywhere. I think I might have convinced myself I should do a custom shoot-up because A, I've already done the other two, and B, it now gives me that many more parts to work with for the rest of them. So I'm using everything up still, just not on the guys that I need it to be. And if nothing else, the various arsenal they have is predominantly secondary. Really, they are all about, to me, the experience of a Mega Nob is all about getting into melee combat as efficiently, as safely and efficiently as possible against the heavy army. Preferably with somebody like a Mega Nob, Big Mac, not Mega Nob, but a Big Mac with a custom force field, which is what I have in the form of the Big Mac in Mega Armor. He is basically going to trump alongside these guys as they make their way up the field to just, you know, wreak as much havoc as possible. I almost forgot, I do need a little bit steady hand. Sorry about squeaking this, folks. This is just for the barrel, just so it, you know, looks like a barrel as opposed to what they have now. Which is just a limitation of what they've got, which is, you know, hey, we just inject the plastic, or they got the plastic, you know, for the molds. Let's just, you know, can't really do, it's harder to do efficient parts. Like having the parts be efficient, but being bottled with like, hey, here's a empty bullet, here's an empty hole for your rifle, or your custom shooter in this case. Or rather, shoot up. That's, thank you very much for the follow. Appreciate you coming in. As more proper introduction, I am N Prime. This is the Mech Shop. I have, if you haven't been a part of the channel before, or haven't watched much of the channel, I have, let's round off to 25 years miniature painting experience. Painting, assembling, you know, putting things together, taking things apart, and just being overall nerdy. Lurking is perfectly healthy. Welcome here. Lurk responsibly. Today I am working on a Mega Nob. Before you popped in, I was also disassembling a handheld game console. It was a copy of Battleship, because I could salvage for all kinds of tasty parts. And if I've given you too much attention, I apologize. I do not mean to call anybody out other than to say, hey, You are welcome to, say as much or as little as you want, provided it's nothing that would violate terms of service or any micro rules, as few of them as there are. If you would like my attention, or to get called for any reason, and I'm not paying attention to chat as well as I should because I'm too zoned in on the model, or I'm off blathering about whatever, you can always type in the command ! Witness. You'll get a nice little sound alert that hopefully will wake me the F up. There is also a whole bevy of commands, there we go, scrolling overhead on a little ticker. You are welcome to utilize any of them for any reason whatsoever. There are some people who've used some of them just because they are funny to hear, and that is A-okay to do. I'm actually curious if there was a way to kind of put like a third barrel with another claw on this guy. I think there might be, but I don't want to far around too much with it. I think I've made my decision. I'm going with the custom shooter for now. Like I said, I'm going to go with just the sort of monopose. Not strictly monopose, but go with just kind of the one overall look. Be happy with that. Not going to worry about like putting on the stick bomb through them. We'll take a moment to try and figure out if there is any specific. Ooh, I know. There we go. I like that. There we go. So I'm getting some thoughts and bits together. Specific attention, like I said, of finishing the finalize. So in this case, I got a couple of the dags, checker pattern. They're not dags, really. But the idea is they'll go over the arms, kind of bulking the armor there. Come on. Definitely getting quiet because I'm focusing on turning, taking care of the mold lines and everything one little bit. A little bit being tiny little bolt casings are going to be flying. I do like these parts that the Games Workshop decided to start implementing for orcs, particularly, because it gives them a little bit more dynamic look. It makes them look more interesting. It gives them a notch in a very brutalistic faction. Brutal panache. That sounds like an interesting concept onto its own. But yeah, now I can clip out the rest of these parts, throw them in. Once I'm done with that, I can probably finish out assembling the Mega Nob. Like I said, I believe I've convinced myself it is a good idea to just put it together as is. Like, as in, Don't worry about magnetizing them, just come with custom shoot out. I really needed more variety and specific guys. Maybe I'll pick up some magnets and another kit, magnetize that one. For right now, that is not the case, so I'm not worried. I am concerned about trying to make sure I get all these parts carefully excised. Because again, these bits and everything, they can be used in all kinds of spots and things. So I'll make sure they're good. That's just the most stupid. And yeah, now I'm at a point where I'm like, oh no, like all the parts are unique next off. It's like, I don't care. I do and don't at the same time. Again, these guys can get used up all kinds of ways, not just like more Mega Nob bits and everything. Or more Mega Nob models. Still very active in doing some commission work right now. I have the big monsters from one patron who I will be meeting tonight for Star Wars and have fun there. But I will also be with them. We will be doing. I'll talk to them and just be like, hey, I can take those take the one set of models you want me to work on as well. Because it's kind of glorious that they're like excited, get stuff, and then like, okay, and Prime, paint these for me. Okay. Because it's revenue for me, it's hobbying, it's like getting the product they want. So there's a lot of just good fortune all around to be shared. What's great now is, hey, I can put that down in there, find the lid where we're going to put that. Not one of those ones. That bag can go there, that's right there. This is our average. Lots of bits. I can change that out in a minute. I think I will do that right about now. What I'm going to do first is get cement applied to his species so I can glue into his base first, because I've been doing where I'll put the guy together and then I'll glue him to his base. But then I was like, realizing that, I realized like, oh, that might not be the most efficient, the most optimal way of doing this. All right. That away, that away. This way, this way. This over here. All you're hearing is just the going, like me saying random crap, and then putting things away, and then you hear like the occasional, like stuff moving around. So carefully and twist. So take that off. Go here. So it blades away. Now to figure out the parts. cool thing is there's a lot of, like, you can totally believe they would be able to move and bend and pose in different ways. It's not just a matter of what feels the coolest, what feels interesting. A lot of them I've been doing have that, like, one arm up. And I certainly kind of like the idea of maybe having him even, like, just shooting in the air. He's like, roar. Then again, he's not really roaring. He's got his mouth is closed, full of iron bits and whatnot. Like, he looks like he's actually had a few teeth replaced. So I think I kind of got an idea now. That looks good to get. There we go. I got real quiet because I could make sure I couldn't think of anything to say specifically, as well as myself a little distracted. Just give him a little bit of an attitude, a little bit of a look. Like I said, works like I said, liquid cement works very quickly. Overall, I'd say I'm pretty happy with them. All right. Putting more stuff away. Here, but you dry it here, dried oil, and you hang out with the other dried oiler. And I have more than a fair share of guys working on it. Oh, okay. Oh my goodness, pardon me. So if I was going to be working on a shadow model, it was going to be this guy. It's still, if I do work on it, I'd probably save working on it for another day. So just more teasing, as it were. Tomorrow I have every intention of working on the industrial terrain that you guys saw me in the work on previously. That includes the incinerator piece, that is this guy right here that I made. Of which I am very grateful and thankful that some parts are holding on very well. And then if I get the motivation and the time for it, then I start. I can also work on the chemical depot, as I refer to it. And again, I start off with a very rust as a base kind of tone, so that way I can then I've applied chipping medium, not chipping medium, but a liquid latex that's meant to block out the watercolors. Do a quick little survey, make sure I didn't miss anything. There are some tiny parts on some of this. Looks like I've got everything, and if I still missed something, oh well. So I think I'm going to take a moment to, let's see who else is on at the moment. turn my phone down. Give that a moment to get through the ad, but I think I found us our raid target. As usual, I prefer to do raid at the end of every stream. So, thank you very much for everyone following, for lurking in for today, for joining me in today in general. Let's get the credits rolling. And then let's get this raid figured out. And it looks like they're still going, so make sure I spelled it right, because otherwise I get the wrong channel. Don't want that. Alright. So everyone, again, thank you so very much for joining me today. Thank you very much for joining me today. I appreciate each and every one of you. I wish all of you take care of yourselves, take care of one another. We're all in this together, and I will see you out there. Bye-bye for now.